Philadelphia 76ers had fired head coach Doc Rivers. And I ain't gonna lie, I knew it was coming. I knew Doc was gonna be the first to go. After getting their ass tore up the way they did in Boston in Game 7, when they had that series in the bag, when they went back home and they blew it. They turned around and blew it again in Game 6. They had another shot the last couple of minutes. They stalled out, started selling. And then in Game 7, they just didn't goddamn bother. They let Jason Tatum just walk all up and down their ass. And I knew Doc was going to be the first to go, man. We got J.J. Redick and Stephen A. on First Take giving us the breakdown and giving us their commentary. And I'm going to piggyback on the other side. Let's go.
James Harden had some great games, but again, closeout games, not his best self. This is not just on Doc, but I can't say I'm surprised.
Stephen A.
Well, when we were on Countdown on Sunday and the Sixers lost the game, I said immediately that they just cost Doc Rivers his job. I didn't want that to happen, but obviously I had anticipated it. And it's really, really unfortunate. He's been employed as a head coach in the NBA pretty much last 24 years. We know his record, good and bad. We know the success that he's had. We've known there's about 9 other coaches that have won over 1,000 games. We know he's going to be a Hall of Famer. We know all of these things. But we also know that he's lost 10 Game 7s. We understand that. And he's lost the lead on several occasions, a 3-2 lead, a 3-1 lead. And when your team, led by your superstar Joel Embiid and James Harden, are virtual no-shows. I'm sorry, literal no-shows. And not one but 2 consecutive closeout games, a Game 6 in Philadelphia that they could have closed Boston out, a Game 7 in Boston where they got annihilated, and your team flat out quits on you. And then you've got guys like James Harden going on social media and talking about it's about their relationship and what have you. You know, when Doc Rivers lets you go to Vegas during the playoffs, for crying out loud, these are the kind of things where chickens come home to roost. Ultimately, those things are looked upon. You look at what's transpiring. You look at whether or not you got the pulse of players, et cetera, and you decided you're going to make a change. And remember, Brett Brown got let go because Brett Brown couldn't get them to the conference finals. Doc Rivers knew the mandate was to get out of the second round and to get them to the conference finals. And in 3 consecutive seasons, they came up short. So it's not a surprise, unfortunately.
Stephen A. And then JJ, you can piggyback. Does this move get them closer to the next level? Do you think this was the right decision here?
No, I don't think it was the right decision because I don't think that James Harden is the right player for that franchise, to be quite honest with you. I think that he's lost a step. He's not what he used to be. He led the league in assists. He's still an all-star caliber player. Not to throw any shade on him in that regard, but in big games, he comes up very, very small on far too many occasions. And ultimately, I think that if Doc Rivers had more I don't know what word to use in this particular situation, but somebody that was ready to step up in big moments, I don't think he would have found himself in this situation. That certainly didn't happen, and that's why he's gone.
They can say what they want, man. At the end of the day, this is playoff basketball. Yesterday's basketball is not today's basketball. This is not the regular season, Jack. You don't get to be on one night and be off another night like you got 80 more games to play. Bro, you ain't got but 7 games per series. You got 4 opportunities to get a win. And if you don't, you out of there. I don't 100% agree with Stephen A. about James Harden because he did step it up since he been at Philly. When he first got there, he was kind of heavy. He wasn't really balling like he was when he was in Houston. I don't really know what he was as far as what he used to be when he was in Brooklyn, but he really, I think, in my opinion, stepped it up when he got in Philly. And he was giving you flashes of the old James Harden. But at the end of the day, they came up short. I just think that the level of consistency is needed, man. They need more players that's going to bring it every night. Joel Embiid, I ain't really got a whole lot to say about him. He really be getting it in. I mean, he the MVP for God's sakes. But for Doc Rivers to be fired after this, I mean, I ain't crying over it because Doc done been in the game for a long time. He done been coaching for over 20 years. He gonna land on his feet. So it is what it is, man. Shout out to Doc Rivers. Shout out to JJ Redick. Shout out to Stephen A. And shout out to Philly, man. Let's go.